Good morning, this is Tahmina Khan. I am here in continuation of the explanation of past paper of complex number, challenging questions, where in my observation students usually get stuck. So I have picked up these questions from CAIE past papers, A-level mathematics pure 3 only. And before we start, this is the blog address of my blog, which has the link of all the videos I have uploaded so far. So let's just start with the questions. So the question is that the complex number u is defined by this, where a is a real number, and you have to express this in the form x plus iota y. So this question has two parts. Let's do first part first, and then we will come to the second part. So before I show you the solution, just asking you, do you remember how to change this into this form? So now if you know, we have to use conjugate of the denominator to bring it into this form. So the conjugate of a plus 2 iota is a minus 2 iota. So I'm multiplying and divided by this. And after that, I'm doing simple algebraic calculation. And you know what it is reminding me? The formula of identity a plus b, a minus b. So that's why I'm writing here a square minus b square, because I'm considering this as my a plus b, a minus b algebraic identity. If you want to actually multiply this by these two, this by these two, you can do that. It's a long method, but you can do that. So after multiplication, I got this. And it will remain have a in it, because we have to find the value of a in the second part. So it has real part 5a over a square plus 4, and it has imaginary part 5 2s are 10 minus 10 divided by a square plus 4 iota. So I have changed this question into this. So conjugate of u, which is represented by this asterisk symbol on top. So conjugate of u will be this, because if you remember, in conjugate of complex number, we change the sign of the imaginary number, right? So this will be my conjugate of u. So I'm changing the sign of the imaginary number. If it is minus, it becomes plus. If it is plus, it becomes minus. The other number does not change, the sign. And why I'm doing this? Because I need this in part 2. So let's see the question again, what is asked in part 2, and then we will start solving it. Okay, so the question part 2 is asking for the value of a with this given information. The information is that argument of u conjugate is equals to 3 pi by 4. So this information is given to you. Now 3 pi by 4, do you remember in which quadrant it will be? Yes, it is equals to 135 degrees, so it will be in the second quadrant. Now in general, we usually have argument of z minus z1. z1 represents your fixed point at which you draw horizontal line. When there is nothing, it means I'm talking about origin. So origin will be my horizontal line towards real axis, and then from there I will draw 135 degree, which is 3 pi by 4. So let's see how we will do it. And using this information, how do we calculate the value of a? Okay, so the information given to you is argument of u conjugate equals to 3 pi by 4. And I have just explained to you, because there is no number, it means it is 0, origin. So this is the fixed point where you draw horizontal line. So it is already drawn here, origin means this. So from here I will draw an angle 3 pi by 4. Because it is plus, I will take anti-clockwise. If it was minus, I would have taken in this direction. Okay, so this is my half line 3 pi by 4. So this diagram till here I have drawn from this information. Now let's see what was my u conjugate. My u conjugate was this, right? So now this is x coordinate and this is y coordinate. So when I complete a triangle here and I want to find out this theta, I will write here x component and here I will write y component. Don't get confused that why I'm not putting minus sign here. I'm just talking about magnitude here, because you see in the question you have to find the value of a. your value of a should come negative. So without solving the question, looking at this diagram, looking at this concept, I get one thing clearly, that my value of a should come negative. Because when negative number will multiply by 5, then this term will turn into negative and it will be fine. Yes or no? So right now the information you have is your u conjugate is this. So that's why in this triangle, because tan theta is this over this, this is my imaginary part, this is my real part, so I'm writing these values along. Can you notice this? Okay. And why I have drawn triangle here, right angle triangle? Because of this information provided to us. I hope it is clear. Okay, so now from this diagram, if I say tan theta equals to this over this, yes or no? So here I am writing it. And my theta is what? 3 pi by 4. Okay, so now you know that argument of u conjugate equals to theta and tan theta equals to this, right? So my theta is equals to 3 pi by 4, yes or no? Okay, so now I will simply flip this division sign into multiplication to flip it. And it will give me the value of a, which is equals to -2. Okay, so explaining it once again in case if you found it little quick. This information was given to me. And we know that argument of z equals to theta. We all know that, right? So if you don't know, let me write it here. Argument of z, in general I'm talking about, equals to theta, right? So now when we get this diagram, and from here tan theta equals to this over this, right? Tan theta, where is it? Here. Tan theta is equals to this divided by this, imaginary part divided by real part. And your theta from here, your understanding is very clear. Your theta equals to 3 pi by 4. Yes or no? So that's why in place of theta, I'm writing 3 pi by 4. And if you calculate, this is equals to -1. So after that, you're just solving it like an algebra. And you get your value negative. And we were expecting that value would be negative, so it's right. So now let's see another question from past paper. Okay, so this is the next question, and this question has 3 parts. Part 1 and 2 usually students find easy. This is the part 3 is difficult for most of the student. So let me just solve the whole question here. Find the roots of the equation of this quadratic complex. So we will apply straight away what? Yes, quadratic formula, correct. So I will apply quadratic formula here. My a is 1, my b is 2 root 3, and my c is 4. So I'm plugging in the value. And I hope you will not make mistake. Mostly student, what they do, they write 2 as it is and write 3. 2 3s are 4. Don't forget to square this also, because this square will be applied on this as well. Okay, so you will get -4 iota. I'm doing little direct here because I have already explained quadratic in detail in my previous videos. But anyway, this is -4 root, which is equals to 2 iota, right? So now from here, I got these two roots, minus root 3 plus iota, minus root 3 minus iota, as a root of this quadratic equation, complex number. So now let's do part 2. So part 2 says find the modulus and argument of each root, and these were the roots we have found in the previous part 1. So now if you look at this, minus 3 plus iota, it means this side minus root 3 plus iota. So this angle. Another is minus root 3 minus iota. So it is this angle. So these are the two angles. So my theta will be, the answer will be, because question is saying find the argument. So it will be this angle. Yes or no? Because we always measured from positive real axis, anti-clockwise plus, clockwise minus. It reminds you the concept of basically basic and general angle of trigonometry. Yes or no? It's the same concept. Anyway, and modulus means size. So it is this size I will find out. And size will definitely be same because it is just in the opposite quadrants here. Okay. So for modulus we do what? This is square plus coefficient of this is square, which is 1 here. So when I do modulus I get root 2. Right? I have shown you both, though there is no need to do both, but just for the sake of showing. So the modulus is coming 2 for both the roots. Okay. Now we have to find out argument, angle, this angle. So basically I'll find out this angle and subtract from pi to get this. These two angles will be same, one with plus sign and one with minus sign. Now look at this triangle. Trigonometric ratio is applied. SOHCAHTOA applied on right angle triangle. So this length is 1, this length is root 3. So using this concept, I'm finding out the length. Okay, so and I just told you positive, anti-clockwise, negative, clockwise. So using this calculation, I'm finding out the angle. Pi minus pi by 6, and I'm putting minus sign with this one. You can use here pi by 6 minus pi, but that is just your understanding that with the final answer you have to put negative sign when you are talking about this angle. Okay. So now let's see part 3 of the question, which is at times a problem for the students. Now part 3 of the question says, show all your working, verify that each root satisfy this equation. Now we know when question says satisfy the equation, we plug in the value of roots in the equation and we should get the same answer. It means if I substitute the value here of z, my z was minus 3 plus iota, minus 3 minus iota. So if I plug in these values here, then solution, or I mean the simplification of this should give me answer minus 64. If I actually substitute and solve it, it will take too long, right? Because it has power 6. So how we can satisfy using the other forms of the complex number? Now if you remember, the exponential form of the complex number, which is very useful in such cases, which is r e iota theta. Okay, so our r is 2 and theta was plus minus 5 pi by 6. So this is the form, this is the root. Agreed? This is the root, and I'm saying, because he's saying show that the roots satisfy this equation. So I need to plug in this here now. Fine. So I will plug in this over here. Let's see. So when I plug in here, 2 power 6 will become 64, right? And e with this power and this power on top, 6 will cancel out and I will be left with this. Because it is even number, plus minus will become what? Only plus. Agreed? Because even number changes negative sign into positive. So now if I write this in the polar form, it means this is the question. Now because polar form is r cos theta plus iota sin theta. So now I have changed this question into this form. So now let's see. My answer should come what? Minus 64, right? This is what we had to satisfy. Minus 64. So you can use calculator and in one go you can do it. But because question says showing all your working, so you have to show each and every step how. So we know cos 5 pi equals to minus 1 and sine 5 pi is equals to 0. So this will give me z power 6 equals to minus 64. So here you have shown that the roots satisfy the equation. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you understood, and now I will come up with more videos. And if you like this video, you learned something from it, I would like you to press like button and subscribe button. You can put up your question in comments or you can email it to me as well. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.